Welcome to Composition 102, Songwriting with a Purpose, which is one of the course modules offered under the course titled Composition and Creativity through musictherapyworks.com. My name is Mary Jane Landacre, and I am your instructor for this course, and I wanted to thank you for taking time to take this course and to explore your songwriting skill and your composition skill with us here at musictherapyworks.com. Hopefully by the end of this course module, you will have an idea of how to shape music around specific goals and specific client needs and preferences that maybe you haven't really thought about either in a while or recently. And so that's the purpose of this particular course module. And again, thank you so much for taking this course. In addition to the common learner objective that links all of these course modules together, this particular course module, at the end of this, you will have composed 3 different songs, 3 original musical pieces based on client goals and composition techniques that are presented. And this addresses CBMT board certification domains 2.A.5A, 2.A.5.D, 2.A5E, 2A5F, and 2A5 and O. And these are all board certification domains which talk specifically about the use of music to support client goals. So for this, you're going to need some materials. You're going to need a computer with internet access, and that's primarily to send demonstration elements to me, but also because there are some resources available that you might be interested in looking at and seeing. You're going to need a printer and paper. You're going to need a pen or a pencil. And then optionally, you might want staff paper. I don't know what you have. An accompanying instrument of your choice, and music composition software. You don't have to have music composition software in order to do this course module. If you are like me and are sometimes old school and you use regular paper to compose, that's fine. But if you have music composition software, use it. It's pretty handy. So by the end of this course module, you will have composed 3 different songs to fit 3 different clients and 3 different client goals. The first song that we're going to compose is going to be one that we're going to compose in common. You're going to use the same client goal, you're going to use the same client description to compose the first song for your demonstration element. The last 2 songs, you're going to use your own client goals, you're going to use your own client descriptions to help shape that goal. And so it's kind of important that you have an idea of what that client is and what that client's goal is in order to really be able to shape your music and your composition to that client. We know that music therapy is a creative experience for the client. We understand that as music therapists. We also know that we have to draw the client into the music therapy experience, that clients don't just automatically go, oh yeah, music therapy, that'd be great. You have to have some way to get through whatever barriers the clients may have. I find that when I'm working with older adults, those barriers are a lot higher and a lot stronger to break through than when I'm working with small children. But you can still draw those older clients with all those barriers in place into that music therapy experience, especially if you are shaping your music to what the clients are wanting. So we use our preferences, we use interests, we use preferences or preferred styles to help shape music around the goal. I'm not going to use rap or hip hop for somebody who prefers classical music. I mean, that's just kind of one of those duh moments as music therapist, is that, you want to use preferences as much as you possibly can. Goals shape our therapy, and so our therapy should always be based on those goals that we have. Clients should never go through an entire music therapy session without addressing their primary goal of therapy. And preferably, all therapeutic music experiences should include the client goals to help clients move towards accomplishing what he or she is there to do in the first place. And it's kind of a duh kind of moment, but it's one that I think we don't always remember when we're trying to explain what we do to other people. So it's time to start composing. And our first composition, like I said before, is going to be based on a client goal and a client description that I am going to provide to you. This just allows me to help kind of see what kinds of things we can do with a commonality. By the way, this is not a client that I work with. This is not a client description of anybody I know. I made all of this up this morning, and so honestly, you know, you're going to be offering compositions that I will probably never use in music therapy. Also, one of the things that I will pledge to you as an ethical music therapist is that I will never use your therapeutic music experiences, your intellectual property, without express permission from you. And so you can just count on that. The first thing to start off with is we start off with our client goal, because that's important, and that's the reason why we're doing music therapy to begin with. So for this goal, the client will add one word to the end of an unfamiliar sung phrase 3 out of 4 trials. Present level of performance, the client can do this 1 out of 4 trials. It's also known as baseline, depending on who you talk to. So that's our goal. We want our client to be able to have opportunities during an unfamiliar song or an unfamiliar sung phrase. It might be a familiar song, but we've changed the words. We want them to add one word to the end of that song. And as we get in a little bit more to the client description, we want this to be an original thought, but that's not the aspect of the goal yet. Client description: the client is male, 57 years of age, and recovering from a traumatic brain injury as a result of a car accident. Client has challenges with speech production, but not with comprehension. So can comprehend what is being said, can comprehend what he or she is listening to, but cannot necessarily pull those words into speech production. The client enjoys listening to the Statler Brothers, Oak Ridge Boys, George Strait, and of course Johnny Cash. Client has a history of performing in a country cover band, playing the drums and singing, and the client can complete known songs, phrases from his musical past, but has difficulty producing original thoughts. And so this is the framework from which we are going to compose our very first song. So are you getting ready? Don't worry, we're not going yet. How to proceed. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take what you know of the client and of the goal to shape your composition. So for example, we know that this client likes specific musical styles, primarily country singers who were very popular in the 1980s. We also know that we're going to need to have 3 out of 4 trials. We're going to need to have unfamiliar sung phrases. We're going to want to have pauses at the end of each phrase for the client to produce, to interact, to offer an original thought. We know musical preference. We know what we want the client to be doing at the end of the treatment. We want the client to be able to produce those sounds, produce those thoughts a bit more clearly. And so we're going to compose a song that supports both the client and the treatment goal. Understanding that style preference, understanding that age, understanding musical history, understanding goal. We're going to compose a song that supports both the client and the treatment. You're going to prepare the accompaniment. There are some helpful links, just some chord progressions, and some interesting ideas. And here are some more chord progression resources available to you. This just gives you kind of a format, especially if you find yourself always doing 1, 4, 5, 7 kind of chord progressions. These ideas may give you a little bit more to do. Feel free to pause on these slides for as long as you need to. Okay, so we're going to compose the first song, and you're going to take some time. This needs to be a minimum of 16 measures, and the reason for that is that if you have a 16 measure song, or at least a 16 measure song, then when you are finished with it, you can turn it into additional continuing music therapy education credits, and I will show you how to do that at the end of this presentation. You're going to want to take your time as you do this to write your song, remembering client goals, remembering all those kinds of things. And you have that information on your worksheet that you should have downloaded as you started this presentation, because that'll help you kind of shape what's going on. You're going to want to end up with your song in fixed manner, so video or audio, and/or I would suggest both, just because it makes it easier for CMTE later on for additional credits, that you also have it written down in sheet music format. But now we're going to pause and compose that first song. And while you are composing that first song, I am going to continue my ukulele practice one of my goals this year is to get better at playing the ukulele. And so for about the next 30 seconds, I'm going to play the ukulele. You can pause that and skip over it if you'd like to, or you can listen to me try to play the ukulele. It's time to compose original music for an imaginary client. Take this as an exercise. Same thing with two clients you know. With two clients you know. For the second and third compositions, you're going to do the same process, but you are going to use your common client goals. To use just kind of generic goals that you use on a pretty regular basis to shape the next compositions. You'll need to have two different goals, and you'll compose a song for each of the goals to complete your demonstration element. Again, 16 measures provided in a fixed format, at least one fixed format. If you do two fixed formats, good for you for CMTE. You're going to also want to offer two different client descriptions. Don't include any identifying information. Keep anonymous for your client's rights to confidentiality. If you prefer making up a client like I did, feel free to do that. You don't even have to tell me that it's a made up client. Just come up with some descriptions there. You're going to want to put your goal and your client description on the worksheet that is included as part of this demonstration element. That just kind of gives me an idea of what your thought process was as you were pulling together your song. Compose your songs and submit them when you are finished. So you want to pause to compose the second and third songs, and again, take your time. It may not be easy. It might be an easy process for you. Who knows? Again, a little ukulele music while you pause to do this. I have a friend a series of books so that way she would get used to playing different chord progressions. When I asked her once why a song was in B minor, she said because I had problems playing that chord and I wanted to get better at that. So sometimes our compositions have nothing to do with our clients and everything to do with us, and that's okay too. Some things to remember as you're getting started with your composition or as you're continuing your composition. There is no wrong. Compositions are never wrong, but there may be a time when this isn't right for this moment right now. And I think that impedes a lot of folks as they're exploring their own creativity. Is they get really excited about this brand new song that they compose, they take it into the clients, and the clients are like, meh. And you know, then you feel like, oh, but I worked so hard on this, and why do you not like my music? Blah blah blah. Yeah. This isn't right for this moment right now, and that's okay. And don't give up on a song if it flops the first time. You never know what's going on. Novelty, you're going to want to try again later, because novelty is both a good thing and a bad thing. If you're doing something brand new with your clients that they've never done before, they may not like that a whole lot. I know with my clients, if I dare to use a new opening song, they'll like look at me up and down and be like, okay, yeah, we'll tolerate this. But as soon as I'm done with the new song, then they're like, hey, can we sing this song instead? Or can we sing this song now? You know, and it goes back to the old familiar. It takes a while to get that novelty going. Now, for some people, brand new is what they want all the time. And so for them, sometimes a routine is a good thing. Novelty can be both a good and a bad thing. You're going to want to repeat therapeutic music experiences several times before giving up. Maybe the presenting this particular song with this particular client right now isn't the best of ideas, but next week when you present the same therapeutic music experience, the client it realizes it's not as novel, understands what's going to happen, and engages a bit more. So you want to always make sure that you try these things several times before you give up. And if a specific client doesn't respond, there will always be another client who will love the composition. So keep trying. You know, just because client A, who you designed this thought process for, says, don't really like the song, client B may be sitting on the other side of the group going, oh my gosh, I love this. That's good. So there is always a client who will love that composition. Keep on trying. All right, so now, as promised, I'm going to tell you how to change your 3 songs into additional continuing music therapy education credits. You get 1 credit for completing this demonstration element and for writing those 3 songs, but CBMT certification manual in 2015 says you can get 5 additional credits per composition. You can submit up to 20 credits per cycle for this, and this is how you do it. It needs to be an original music composition. You need to have a copy of the musical score of the original composition. It needs to be at least 16 measures in length and correctly notated by hand or by computer software. So you've got to have that score. You also need to have an audio recording of the composition on audio tape or CD. And I would assume that that's going to change in the Recertification Manual 2020 to also include like YouTube videos and that type of thing. If you can offer it in digital format, like a WAV file or an MP4 or an MP3, I think that will be sufficient for CBMT, but I can't speak for CBMT. You also need to identify the composition's therapeutic use. That's why we have the goal and the client description as part of the worksheet. You want to identify client populations for which the TME is appropriate, any therapeutic domains that are addressed, and at least 1 specific therapeutic objective within the stated domains. You also want to flesh it out a bit with a procedure for implementing the composition to meet the objectives. If you can do that, you can change the 1 CMTE that you're earning with me into a total of 16 CMTEs. So go for it. We've reached the end of this course module, and you've done a lot of work for this. I would like for you to send me your demonstration element. You're going to send songs either through video link or with scans of your original songs. I don't need both, but CBMT does, so you might as well do them. And your completed worksheet to the email address contactus@musictherapyworks.com. After I receive your demonstration elements, I will send you the link to the course evaluation for this specific course module. When you have completed all of your course modules, I will send you your certificate and the link to the overall course evaluation. And I just wanted to thank you so much for choosing Music Therapy Works for your CMTE needs, and I hope that you'll take advantage of some of our other course modules and have an opportunity to express and explore your own creativity. Thanks again, and happy composing.